The occupation of Denmark after our victory is surprisingly unpopular with the population, both in Denmark and in Germany. The population in Denmark is beginning to organize resistance, and right now the German troops that are in place are leaving the occupational control to a civilian organization. This can change if necessary, and the case inside Germany itself, in terms of discontent about our occupation of Denmark, the people have to understand that this is not an expansionist approach, that Germany is out there to conquer other countries, but it is there to control the strategically important location of Denmark, plus to ensure that any kind of Danish government is not going to backstab us once again. Meanwhile, the Kaiserliche Marine is expanding operations around the British Isles. We're moving the faster second Schlachtgeschwader over to Dublin, and the first is going to be remaining in the North Sea. And hopefully we can catch the pesky British forces that are both that are harassing our submarines in the Atlantic and our convoys. So we will start moving. I will start moving positions further west. However, the occupation of France still is a very important factor. Let's get back to. In fact, Norway has to get itself organized. So let's get back to Indochina, because this is the next situation where we actually have to do something, and we will probably. I might probably actually concentrate troops in the north and try to cut off the rebels in the north here. So let's change the. These are mostly. This is Wehrbezirkskommandos. They are not doing any offensive operations whatsoever. So no, they will just hold the line here. We'll have 3 assault infantry divisions under Friedrich Paulus. They will have another go at Saigon, and we are waiting for reinforcements to arrive. So the troops are shipping through the Indian Ocean at this point, hopefully managing to avoid any kind of Japanese interjections from the Japanese fleet. It's are just small cruiser groups, but we've seen larger Japanese fleets operating in the area, but it is a risk that we have to take given the overall situation. So let's begin by launching another assault towards Saigon. We are all right in terms of supply for now. And I don't think the Saigon workers group, despite the fact that we are attacking through the jungle here, are going to be capable of holding us back. Do have to keep an eye on naval engagements. This is just us sinking French submarines after some convoy losses. I have prohibited convoy operations through South America, but of course that doesn't mean that they're not going to go through the Mediterranean. Since we're talking about it, the Kingdom of Spain is under massive French pressure, so we have to start. It's on fire here. We have to start launching the operations against France soon. I'm moving half of the Second Army north towards an assault from Lille, and we're already moving some of the bombers back home. There we go. So we've got 5 tactical bomber wings that are in some need of reconstitution, but they're not in as bad as a shape as they used to be. So they're all trained up, and that means we have 2 remaining wings operating over the Norwegian area, and they can cover mostly up to Narvik. But if we take a further airport in the north, then that would be possible as well. On the Ostfront, things don't look great. We are We've got some assault divisions in place to try to push the Russians back across the river, but by the time it took them to get here, the Russians actually have consolidated their breaches on the Ostwall, and we may have to fall back from the whole area towards the prepared line. But we will see if we can mount a counterattack. These are some divisions under Guderian that are currently just in defensive positions, but we will try and see if we can push the Russians back across the river and re-establish the Ostwall in this position here. However, for now, we are active in Indonesia. So let's see the troops under Paulus operating, and I am just curious if any of the we might get some. No, these are our convoys and destroyers. I don't think any of the Schlachtgeschwader is engaging, interestingly enough, but we'll get to that. We will catch the British eventually. Immediate counterattack from the north, but I think we will hold here and we will try to take Saigon. We might. Yeah, I do need both of these divisions actually, which means the reinforcements that are coming in from the east are going to mean that it is going to be impossible to take Saigon. However, I don't think one assault division by itself can take Saigon. If we're wasting the other one on pinning troops south, we're not going to get anywhere either. We may have to do that, however. So we redirect one division south to pin the troops here, and we are defending from the counterattack in the north. And then once that's done, the second division here can assist with the assault on Saigon. So the idea being that we take Saigon before reinforcements from the east can arrive. And that should hopefully enable us to encircle these three divisions east of Saigon. Troops are moving now into place. We have once again pushed the enemy out of Saigon, and once we have taken Saigon, the pinning operation will stop. We have sufficient reserves in the north. We just need to make our way into Saigon before the enemy gets there. Okay, we have gotten into Saigon, which means we are going to reinforce Saigon immediately. Right now it is the 3rd Königlich Sächsische Infantry that has to hold against a massive onslaught. Saigon is somewhat fortified, so holding this position is absolutely essential. We're sending reinforcements in from the north immediately to try and assist with the operation. I'm just going to have a quick look if there are any naval combat going on that we need to check out. These are just more submarine losses. So the escort group's actually quite effective in the English Channel. Second Schlachtgeschwader has arrived in Dublin, and the Aufklärungsgruppe is trying to scout for any kind of enemy shipping, but it looks like the British have retreated to port at this point, which is good news. Troops in Norway making their way towards the front lines, and that's still going to take a little bit. They'll have to disembark from the railway, organize and plan the assault, but the idea is to cut off the southern remains of the enemy troops north of Trondheim, destroy the remaining enemy divisions, and then push north towards Narvik. Narvik is potentially relatively well defended by Mexicans, but we shall see. We've got dockyards available, which means I can potentially, and it looks like our trade routes are not functioning at all, so I'm going to have to look at that in a second. For now, we're just going to be building more parts of the Zander class as part of the Fregatten-Notprogramm, the frigate emergency program, to reestablish our escort groups. So trade routes are not working at all. So I was kind of hoping we would be able to trade via land routes, but it looks like this is not working. So we have two options. We can either go through the Pacific, where the Japanese lurk, or we can go around the South Cape. But the land routes are not functioning, unfortunately. So in that case, I am going to allow access around the Cape again for convoys, and we are going to send them around this route, unfortunately. Again, more pressing needs to take care of France and get through there. But for now, the Battle of Saigon, this is where it's really at. And we will see if the Königlich Sächsische can hold on until reinforcements arrive. We've got the 2nd Infantry Division coming in. The Schutztruppendivision from East Asia has actually expanded the range here, which is good. So we're sending reinforcements into Saigon. And there we go. And once they join the fight, then okay, we have defeated the enemy onslaught, which means we can now begin cleanup operations east of Saigon, which will establish railway connections. Right now we're supplying Saigon via sea, which is less than ideal, but Saigon has fallen, and we will see how much that does on the... this is consolidating itself a little bit, fortunately. We'll see how much that does on the enemy side. We'll just have to find the right war. Indochina is has almost capitulated, so they have moved their government south, but we will destroy the encircled troops here, and with support from the north, we'll leave one division. We will leave one division to secure Saigon and ensure that, yeah, these troops are encircled, so they will be running low on supplies. So we should be able to destroy these without endangering the Saigon situation. And then once Indochina has been cleared, we might move north towards Bangkok, but we will see how that's going to turn out. More naval engagement, more submarines being sunk, and more submarines being sunk. Convoy escorts are effective in the English Channel, despite the fact that we are sorely lacking in numbers at this point. We have a rather large number of available convoys now, so I think I can ramp down the convoy production a bit and get another line of the Thunder class going for now. There we go, and that should relatively quickly refill the escort groups a little once these all get constructed. The submarine divisions are running a little low. Somebody was asking if we had more modern submarines. Yes, we're building a Type 9 submarine here. And the trade has mostly normalized, which means we are probably over trading at some places. So let's adjust that all. I think rubber is not something we can do an awful lot about, but we might need more. Tungsten, and otherwise we're good. Okay. So Saigon situation. No Japanese naval forces in at the moment. Everything's relatively calm at the beginning of March 1941, and the carriers are going to be coming online relatively soon, so that is always pretty good to know as well. We are scouting a potential force in the western approaches, so that will be the first action of the second Schlachtgeschwader. If we can find that, it's moving to engage, and I'm not sure what we have caught there. Potentially a British battleship. If we can intercept it before it makes its way to port. The second Schlachtgeschwader has moved out, but hasn't been able to catch up to the British fast mover, which means potentially first Schlachtgeschwader can get ready to engage if we manage to respot them in the North Sea. And other than that, it's just submarine hunting through the English Channel that's going on here. And I think not much else. Major victory over the Indonesian rebels. 27,000 troops have surrendered, encircled east of Saigon, which means that now they are weakened to the point that we can potentially move on to the capital. So let's get the front line concentrated, and we will move all assault divisions into Saigon, and then from there on just march onto the enemy capital, hopefully finish this up, and then start making a move into Siam, and finally conclude the campaign of German East Asia that has been long coming. Meanwhile, in Norway, the Swedes actually are not waiting for us and are already launching assaults against the Norwegian line. However, von Falkenhorst's Gebirgsdivision are not yet ready. They're still moving into position, getting ready for the assault. So we will give them some time to organize themselves after coming out straight from the trains. Talking about trains, these troops need to move into position. And we are still trying to spot the British fleet. There is a potential of a British strike group joining some of their submarines that are hunting Cuban transports. So again, we will see if one of the Schlachtgeschwader is actually managing to engage. The second is currently. Where's the second? The second is currently en route to engage British forces in the Channel, but it's just the destroyer. So unless the home fleet is actually going to join, I don't think they will have much of a success there. So back to Saigon, and where I think we have broken the enemy's back relatively comprehensively. We're just going to get the troops on. In position. Saigon has been taken, supply has been secured in the south. The infrastructure improvements that we've been running have been quite successful, so I think we can actually scale that down somewhat, and we might not even need to complete the port facilities, but we'll do it for now, just for future operations. Meanwhile, Focke-Wulf has improved, and we can now fighters and carrier fighters plus 10% range. Yes, that's a nice one. Do we have the air XP? Yeah, I think we want 10% range. So let's get the production lines upgraded, and they can convert existing stockpile of planes quite easily. We have a large stockpile of carrier-enabled planes. That doesn't mean that they only have to operate from carriers. They can operate from other groups as well. But troops ready in Saigon. How is the situation on the flank? Do we have troops available now? We are trying to actually. Yeah, we are suffering Russian counterattacks quite significantly, but. Another naval combat in the Channel. How has it worked out? Okay, there we go. So it looks like the British have actually come in. We have managed to sink the Nelson, which was escorting the carriers. Once again, the carriers have managed to disengage, but not without taking quite some damage from the large guns of the Schlachtgeschwader. And we have sunk the Nelson, 3 destroyers, and 1 cruiser, the RNS Penelope, at the cost of 3 of our escort destroyers and 5 convoys, which were what ended up triggering the whole combat to begin with. But the enemy submarines have gone undetected. We have managed to sink 2 of them, but I think at this point the carriers have gotten away. The big question will be, can we actually catch the carriers? And there is the Louise Michel actually engaging right now. She has taken a critical hit from one of the light guns, but from one of the convoys, presumably. It was a very lucky hit. We have lost 10 convoys, unfortunately, but the combat is raging, and it sending the convoys through the English Channel definitely has drawn out the British quite significantly. So in that case, I hope both Schlachtgeschwaders can make themselves useful. Let's keep an eye on the situation here and how that develops. So here, definitely a victory for the Kaiserliche Marine. The submarines have made their way out. So that was a significant naval victory. The Nelson has been sunk. That is yet another British battleship that had been damaged, that is no longer operational. That just leaves them with the carriers pretty much. 13 convoys lost here is less than great, but it looks like some of the scout cruisers actually have engaged the carrier, the Louise Michel. So we've got 10 destroyers and 2, the Steinmetz and the Bonin, 2 of our older scout cruisers on scouting duty, engaging the Louise Michel. So let's see how that ends up going. She is already taking hits from the cruiser guns and is trying obviously to disengage. She has been hit by a torpedo, multiple torpedo hits. She is listing and okay. In a minute, wartime mobilization is done. In a minute, we'll deal with that in a minute. We are observing vital naval combat right now. She has taken multiple torpedo hits, and the cruiser guns are doing a good amount of damage. The destroyers have managed to depth charge and sink 2 French submarines. 2 more have been spotted or have been acquired by. Yeah, these are V-class. There's a lot of V-class and in there that might actually have passive sonar. But the big question is, can we catch that French carrier and get her sunk? Well, we'll see if she's taking punishing fire from the cruisers, and I think she is now turning over at the keel, and that's it. The Louise Michel actually has been sunk by one of the destroyers finished off with a torpedo hit after she had been immobilized by the cruiser guns. So another major victory for the Kaiserliche Marine in the English Channel, where we are furiously engaging any kind of British. We have also the Schlachtgeschwader at the same time has managed to catch the Courageous and has sunk the Orion as well, and one of the destroyers. So it's a French and a British flat top down, the Scratch 2, and we are potentially still engaging more ships here. But there's not much. Yeah, this is just submarine operations. Furious naval engagements in the English Channel now. But let's see first what's going on in Ireland. An Irish goodbye. Now that doesn't sound good. In the time after ethno-religious crises in the Irish Republic forced their armed forces with Germany's backing to step in, the country has been saved from the brink of disaster. With the guidance of German advisors, stability has been re-established on the Isle, their economy is thriving like never before, and their army is well equipped and trained to fight off any invader. Standing in stark contrast to its poor and troubled history prior, Ireland has become a model of the prosperity possible under the benevolent wings of the Imperial German Eagle, which seeks not to exploit but to uplift the nations in its sphere. Naturally, in return for this assistance, the Irish have joined the Reichspakt and give German forces basing rights. However, due to the completion of the German mission's goal of restoring order and local discontent at the degree of Teutonic influence in the running of Irish affairs, the government has recently made the decision to recall the advisors. The loss of a certain level of sway over the nation is regrettable. The strongly Germanophile Irish military, having consolidated their control over the state behind the scenes, have nonetheless been quick to reassure Germany that the Irish shall continue to be staunch allies and support German troops, ships and planes being based on the island. As an expression of gratitude for their crucial services in getting Ireland back on its feet, the German advisors were feted at the dinner party in their honor. And as they prepare to depart the Emerald Isle for the fatherland, an Irish army band bid them a fond farewell by playing Heil dir im Siegerkranz and Preußen's Gloria March, in celebration to the warm relationship between the two nations that had blossomed since the fateful days of the Weltkrieg. That Ireland becomes free, which I'm okay with. So the Irish themselves are not too fond of German influence. However, the Irish military and military government are very much in favor of us. So I'm okay with them being free. They will be part of the Reichspakt, and as such, given the threat from Great Britain, I don't think there's any danger of them becoming a problem anytime soon. All right, what's up next? So now that wartime mobilization is done, I think we don't really... I could do with the 10% base war support, but I don't really need to relocate industry. I think this is pretty much a zero-sum game. But although I might get some free building slots out of this, if I'm not mistaken. It doesn't say that it actually removes the building slots. It just says it removes the factories and then adds them elsewhere. So however, it doesn't speed up the lacking preparedness debuff, which is still there, but it is diminishing. I think that's pretty much all we can do actually in that regard, except for doing the Leni Riefenstahl one and improve the UFA by making more engaging movies. That's the last one. We don't currently use UFA as an advisor, so the impact is. I think I'm going to leave with that. We've kind of got two problems at this stage. The amount of trade that is necessary right now is becoming a little excessive. So while we are normalizing things from time, but rebalancing things from time to time, can I? Yes, I can. That's just. I think that's the two we need. Yeah. The amount of trade that we're doing is relatively excessive, and it puts a big strain on the Navy. So we could use some focuses to improve that situation, or we could improve the Navy. So I think improving the Navy, given the pitched battle that we're in over the control of the seas right now, and the looming threat of Japan, actually might be not a bad idea as well. There are some free shipyards here, plus research bonuses. What else we got? More research bonuses and research bonuses. That's always nice, but these under the Reda doctrine, which we haven't really expanded, actually improve all things on the Navy. So we could get range. We could get, given that the carriers are coming online in May, this might actually be useful, or. Convoy rating efficiency is also not bad, but decisions. Or three free shipyards, which then unlocks another path here. Alternatively, it is industry. There are a couple of industry decisions up here that we haven't taken yet, or we just continue with. Cementing von Schleicher's position, which is also not a bad one. I think the doctrine of national autarky is one that's actually quite interesting right now, because that gives us some aluminium, which we're always short of, and a couple of civilian factories, and a little bit of oil as well. So we'll do that. Economic policy of Schleicher's regime calls for domestic economic development through cooperation between state and large businesses. Right. So instead of having to trade all over the world, we are improving the autarky of Germany. Now, before we look at the next naval battles, let's have a quick look over at Indochina, where I think we are ready to move on the enemy capital. Let's see if we have the endurance to pull this through. I've got some of the some more infantry divisions to back this up, and I think some are still still at sea. Yes, some divisions are still at sea, but let's see if we can break through here with some support from the infantry, which I don't think we'll need because probably the combat width is already full. But we should be able to break through towards the enemy capital here. I'm just going to have to make sure we're not getting cut off. But I do want to keep an eye on the developments in the English Channel, because that's currently where Reda's group is chasing away some submarines. That is not that interesting. But I think there were more potential naval battles. Marshal... the Louis Michel has been sunk and is just chasing away some of the submarines here as well. And that is... we have caught the Furious, the Glorious and the Courageous. All of them have been... two of them have been sunk by heavy guns, and the Furious has gone down to our torpedoes. So Orion's been sunk, the Carrier's been sunk, and I think that significantly depletes the British forces at this point. Let's see, we are almost out of fuel, by the way. We might need to trade for some more oil. We can trade a bit more. We'll trade a bit more from Azerbaijan, and we'll try to re-establish the amount of fuel consumption that we're having in the Empire is insane when all the battle groups are active. We are in the middle of massive combat between our forces here, and we will see there's still enemy French forces in the area potentially. But first naval battle done. The Louis Michel, the enemy flagship, the pride of the fleet, has been sunk by a friendly scouting group. Enemy air attacks and enemy submarines again hunting our transports, and here just the submarines getting away. So that should have been a blow to the French morale, honestly. Lost pride of the fleet has reduced their war support further, and we are, I think, almost ready for an attack on France. We are currently having the tactical bomber wings being reconstituted, and then we will launch the assault here. I think overall the air situation, there's not much left over northern France, and they have stopped any attacks on the Rhineland, and they have stopped any attacks on Upper Germany. So we can focus all the air power now on the invasion. There is a bit of opposition. They are trying to. So the British are falling back. They're trying to secure the channel, which means we can actually get the heavy fighter wings, move them north to Holland, and get them to clear the air of the English Channel. All around progress, I would say, and still we are lacking fuel. So more imports from Azerbaijan, and that'll slow down other options. But we are moving. We're moving on the enemy capital. And troops should be okay. Counterattacks. Troops are moving in, but we'll just smash through with the assault divisions at this point. In Sweden, or in Norway rather, troops are ready for the assault. So yeah, the Swedes actually are already leading the way at this point. So we are going to move and attack north, trying to cut them off. And here as well, we'll just try to move through and cut off the enemy divisions. We should have air support. Yes, we are actually going to need air support over the north. So let's redirect them to the northern air zone. And more naval combat in the English Channel. Just checking if I'm missing anything. Nothing large so far. And the convoys starting to flow through the English Channel more or less unimpeded. And yes, we have sunk 3 British carriers, one cruiser, 1 destroyer. And we've sunk a couple of their submarines here as well, operating in the Channel. So no more free reign for the British in any way whatsoever. How much navy do they have left? What do we know about their navy? They have 2 Admiral class battle cruisers left and 4 battleships. And after that, it's just destroyers, heavy cruisers, light cruisers. A fair amount of lighter forces, but the core, the backbone of the British forces has been broken. Quick look at Indonesia, just to make sure that we're not missing anything. Our troops are moving freely now towards the enemy capital. That should finish up there's nobody left to defend it. The Indonesian rebels in the north can no longer withstand the German onslaught, so we are about to take the enemy capital here. We've sunk 5 submarines in the Channel, and we're engaging some of the some French light forces here as well. We've got we'll potentially have the Schlachtgeschwader take care of that. But I think once the French and British fleets have been sufficiently diminished, we're actually going to go for a refit on the Schlachtgeschwader to ensure that they are up for future operations. We are about to complete the capture of the enemy capital. That should be the end of Indonesia and the rebel uprising that has kept us busy for so many years. Let's see if that means that they are now Indochina, not Indonesia, Indochina, yeah. Indochina will capitulate, and that should mean that we are free to take on Siam, which is expanding in the north. So this is actually quite urgent that we are going to start taking on Siam. We have managed to encircle some enemy troops here, which is nice. But and we've got more reinforcements shipping in, so I think the war there is in a good position. And we are once again just engaging some enemy submarines. The submarines are still an issue, but other than that, it's not much anymore. So we can probably divert whatever torpedo bomber group we have. We'll move them over to Holland as well, and divert them to the Channel. There should have been a second one somewhere here. The air is now being cleared over the Channel as well. We are shooting down enemy fighters in large numbers. Northern France is clear. The enemy air force is massively diminished. Their losses are absolutely catastrophic over the past months, and I don't see them coming back from that. So it is time to launch the assault on France as well. Let's have a quick look at the Eastern Front and see if we can manage to engage that counterattack here. I think we can try against the... I was going to attack the Russians here and then see if we can... we'll have to wait until the attack's over. Okay, Indochina has capitulated. Great news. And I would like the German East Asia actually to take Indochina. However, I think we have done. Okay, we'll have to pass here. Let's have a look over at Indochina. This should just be retaken by German East Asia. Yeah, German East Asia is retaking the territory. That is as it should be, and we'll confirm that. And Indochina has capitulated, which means that now the road is open towards Siam. So the assault troops and the troops in the south here let's see what the road to Siam is going to look like. Saigon is sort of the last supply position, but we can take a port here in the south and then make our way north along the supply lines towards Bangkok, and we'll probably split up. We'll probably split them up a little. So we get. Let's reorganize the front lines in the light of the new developments. So we've got the 3 assault divisions that have taken Saigon after grueling jungle fights, and they can move along the coast here towards Battambang. We're going to have a couple of the infantry divisions, regular infantry divisions, here to join them, and we do have the infantry divisions that are still on the way. They can launch a northern assault and take down the rest of revenge for the German infantry divisions that have died in the jungle in the north. Those stories still haunt us in the north here, so we're going to get them assigned here, and then the rest of the divisions that are available. They can hold the larger front line, probably just along the line here. There we go. Okay, so for these two, the objective will be to push towards the coast, basically. And everybody else will more or less follow, and then we shall crush Siam and consolidate the German East Asian position here in the light of potential engagements against Japan. Alright, more naval combat in the English Channel, but I think it was mostly submarines. And they have sunk some of our convoys, so getting the planes engaged. I think we can get the naval patrol bombers engaged here now as well. So let's get everybody up on Küstenfliegergruppe can move over to Holland as well, and so can the naval patrol wings, and they can actually engage in naval strikes and see if we can catch some enemy submarines. And we'll just concentrate all the naval patrol bombers over here for now. We've still got some over in Ireland. They also need to reconstitute, actually. So let's get the ones in Ireland for now on the ground, so they can actually rebuild, and then I think another Aufklärungsgeschwader that's doing air recon over Britain. Let's stop that because they are getting a little depleted here, and we will focus on why are we losing so many of these, and why we're not producing enough of these is the better question. We're producing 2 a week, so we can convert some of the old Heinkels, I guess, and use them for scout planes. But yeah, we might probably need a factory more just to replace losses. So let's get one more factory on that. All right, so but combat in Scandinavia is ongoing. The air wings that have returned, we've got a fresh Kampfgeschwader over Berlin, and we've got 5 tactical bomber wings. So all of these can join the Western Front, and they can move towards where can we operate out of? Essen should do. So let's get them moved to Essen. And then we'll get all the air force ready to start launching operations. All the bomber wings, heavy fighter wings have been a bit depleted, but it's very minor really. So I think yeah, everyone's ready. So let's get the bombers over while we are keeping a quick look at Norway. And then we will launch the attack on France, which is heavily overdue. And hopefully the Schlachtgeschwader can actually can stop engaging once the British are defeated. I'm not sure what we are chasing. This group here, what have we found? A French cruiser group. 2 cruisers, 5 destroyers. We've got the Schlachtgeschwader coming in. And we will see if they can manage to join the fight before the enemy cruisers. There we go. large group of French ships, but they are obviously now immediately trying to retreat. First destroyer has been, or 3 destroyers have been sunk, and the British ships have reinforced the French, but the Schlachtgeschwader an der Rede has been on the ball and is sinking basically everything. The French cruisers that initially engaged have been going down, so has been the Neptune. This is just a screening group making very short work of the enemy ships, and the whole group has been defeated. So we'll see. Not doing too much damage to enemy shipping in the channel, but hopefully we'll be able to hunt down some submarines. Yeah, I think the operations are going well, and we are now in a position to start challenging the French. So before we do that, let's do one more naval research. Small caliber semi-armor piercing shells. Yes, that needs to happen. So let's get that. We give it the Germania Werft. Let's get that to happen. Let's begin. Let's have a quick look at Norway and see if we can maybe conclude that before we attack France, because that way we don't have to. In fact, I can divert 2 mountain. That we don't have to pay attention to 2 theaters. We can divert 2 mountain divisions to destroy this destroy their positions there. We are moving north. Cutting off cut off the remaining divisions. Let's get 1 south to get the Norwegians to capitulate, and we are pushing. Yeah, the Indo-Chinese Revolution is defeated. We are pushing Norway out very, very rapidly. Let's see if after they are defeated here, if they will actually capitulate, or if it's going to take them longer still. The Indo-Chinese Revolution is defeated. Despite ferocious guerrilla warfare from the Viet Minh troops, the German army has managed to thwart the Viet Minh revolt in Indochina. I keep saying Indonesia, Indochina. The leaders of Indochina, hiding in the plain of reeds after the central government evacuating from Saigon, are assumed dead after the German troops launched a thorough sweep. That's why we brought flame tanks. However, there are also rumors of Viet Minh leaders crossing border and fleeing in other countries. Whatever may be the case, the war has left an indelible scar on the land, with thousands of villages ruined and millions losing their home in a vicious fight between German troops and the Viet Minh guerrillas. Our interests in Asia are secure for now, unless Japan is launching any kinds of invasion. And of course, the commune is still a big threat to everybody. But the next step here is going to be the assault on Siam, and once again we are actually very much out of supply in the south here, but there is nobody here. So let's take the port, and we'll send some infantry divisions north towards Battambang. They might not have expected us to actually invade from the south, so we might be able to seize the opportunity here. And Liberia was annexed, so let's have a very quick look at Africa and see what's going on here. That is the old French Republic, and yes, we were right not to join forces with the devil here, being the Entente, because they are still up to their old colonial engagements. Liberia has announced its total surrender to the French Republic. The French forces, along with a number of independent Liberian authoritarian Democrat supporters, have forced the president and his government into exile, and a new government has been established to rule Liberia in cooperation with the French Republic. Uncertain times indeed, yes. So the French are still very much expansionist, and Spain is about to fall without too much success, without too much assistance from the Entente by the looks of it. But we shall change that. So this was the large cruiser group that we've been sinking, and that these were two French, 2 British cruisers, lots of destroyers, and we have made some. We have suffered and made some air attacks, but nothing really outrageous. The Stettin has been attacked from the air and has managed to shoot some enemy flights down. We have fighters in the in the air to cover this now. So right now, the Schlachtgeschwader are almost more engaged in anti-submarine warfare than anything else. But that means we are now going to launch. Unternehmen Gelb, the invasion of France. But first, we'll launch a counterattack against the Russian positions in Chernihiv. I think we should be within range of the, just about in range of the railway artillery. So we probably move that a little closer, just to ensure that we have artillery support here. Okay. And of course, instantly Russian attacks here. Let's defeat those quick and then try to counterattack towards the north. Okay, and see if we can manage to push the Russian divisions out back across the river here. And then we will try to do a sweep and retake the Ostwall and see if we can stabilize the positions near Chernihiv a little bit. But it looks like the Russian defenders have sufficient air support that even the assault divisions and immediately counterattacking, even the assault divisions are struggling to break through the Russian lines here. And I think we will have to abandon this attempt for now. So without air support, breaking the Russian lines, despite the fact that they're even past the Ostwall, is not going to happen. Okay, so that's clarified. Meanwhile, much fighting still going on in the Channel. Let's just have a quick look. They have lost just a couple of submarines, but other than that, there's not an awful lot. Going on in capital ship combat, which is the only one we're interested in. Norway. The Norwegian positions are getting cleared up here, and I think from here we can just help. That's almost destroyed. So one is enough, and the other three move north, and then further north. How are we on supply in the area? We should have still some supply from the constructed supply hub in Norrland, but is Norway going? The big question is Norway going to capitulate? Second Weltkrieg is back. Good. So things have consolidated themselves. Is Norway going to capitulate? No. So the Norwegians are obstinate and make us go all the way towards Narvik, which means, unfortunately, that we potentially, none of this is a good option. We could launch a naval invasion of Narvik, but Narvik is defended relatively well. I think we are just going to march north, and maybe we can get them to capitulate. More Chinese non-aggression pacts, I am down for that. And we will now begin the invasion of France. Given that we have at this point total aerial superiority, we can potentially start moving some of the Luftwaffe east. I just don't want to risk them piecemeal. So for now, we're going to focus the Luftwaffe over France. However, I can probably just take a couple of the Jagdgeschwader and take them off superiority, because we have total aerial superiority at this point. All right, we have two axes. We have the Unternehmen Gelb central axis assault in the north, and we have Unternehmen Wiesel as the attack through Lille. So the tanks are going to lead the charge. We are going to launch an attack towards Besançon in the south, which with the panzer divisions in the lead, and they should be. The idea is to breach the French defenses here. Now, what's the territory looking like? There are some Burgundy fortifications, so we probably want to bypass these and then break through towards Besançon. Alternatively, we can also try to maybe isolate the positions in the south and just deal damage to the southern flank. But I think the Burgundy position south of Besançon is a good first point for breaking through. So let's get the tank divisions to assault here, and with air support we should be able to break these French divisions without too much trouble, and then push north towards Besançon. We are going to have the other half of the of the tank divisions, launching the attack through the weakly defended area near Lille. There are some fortifications here, but once we break through into Picardy, and then hopefully we can either we can exploit south, and we can try to move north and bypass the French concentrations in the north. So let's see if we can cut them off towards the sea. For now, can we actually attack? We can attack Picardy from here, so that might actually be the better. That might be the better approach, given their relative weakness in Picardy right now. This might be a good vector to break through and get behind their lines and try to isolate the stronger positions in the north. Yeah, let's move. Let's slightly relocate the tank divisions, and then we are going to try to break through. In Picardy. The Russians are now trying to cross the straits from Crimea, but that is not going to happen. We've got 4 Lithuanian divisions holding the lines there. Let's focus on France, where moving the tank divisions south for a concentrated attack on, and we'll just wait for the last one, concentrated attack on Picardy. And we are making a break in the south. Instant counterattack, instant attack from our allies towards the south to secure the flank. The tanks are breaking through the forest in the south. It's not the ideal terrain for them, but it'll expand the lines and force the French to stretch their positions. At the same time, in the north, we are breaching into Picardy, and we do have the assault infantry divisions that can follow this up once we have managed to break through. Tanks are breaking through, immediate counterattack, and we will follow up. We'll follow through with the divisions, the motorized divisions along the line here to quickly secure the breach. We'll have to defeat the counterattacks from the north, but like this, we are now relatively open. We don't want to overstretch the tanks grouping here, but we will push into the somewhat undefended forest line south that we have just broken into. We are going to get all tank divisions, given now that the motorized infantry has followed up. And we'll see if we can get in behind the enemy lines, and then launch an attack, together with the elite infantry divisions from the various colonial wars and civil wars across the line from the north. Meanwhile, in the south, we are making progress. We are making progress of pushing the French out, although they are reinforcing vividly, and. Here they have expanded their position and rushed defenses into the forested area, but we have infantry divisions ready here now, so we can actually start launching attacks and in support. The line is very thin here, so breaking the French there is actually going to not be as effective as potentially expanding the line further south. And just ensuring that we are getting at least 1 tank division to maintain the assault here. Okay, the line can get a little wider, but okay, we'll hold position here. We'll just secure it to the south, and we'll have to change the front lines to make sure the tanks don't return. So the tank armoured spearhead is most certainly concentrated here now. We are expanding south into exhausted French troops. The French are counterattacking immediately, but I think Haiti has capitulated. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. I think there is an opportunity here to extend the lines a little bit further south and just make sure that our armored spearhead is in a good shape. Haiti has capitulated. Still furious battles going on in the channel. We'll look at that in a minute. But what has been going on? The USAS has taken Haiti. There was There was not much we could do about this. We will liberate Haiti eventually, but right now we are fighting a furious war in Europe. This is just a minor skirmish, but the British are definitely sending more forces out again. The Netherlands wants to send expeditionary forces. Sure, go for it. And we have some reinforcements that can be... we've got some Dutch troops now. Okay, let's see what we do with these two. 2 divisions. I think they are going to be sent to Paulus, honestly, for the East Asian theater. And we've got an infantry division that can go somewhere on the Eastern Front, where we have where we can use more infantry divisions. Not the 11th. Everything on that. We'll send them to Guderian for now, so they can join Guderian's force. And in France, back to France, we are expanding the line south because there was a temporary weakness in French positions, but we'll see that should stretch their lines a little bit, and then we can renew the assault from 2 directions onto the Picardy forest and see if we can bridge the lines there. And we have managed to push towards the outskirts of Besançon. So let's see if we can manage to get across the river and take Besançon against... No, French have reinforced. Okay, we will stop here and just stretch out the French forces a little bit. And we have a resistance potentially in Denmark, I would assume. That we need to take a look at. Yeah, there is an organized... the resistance in Denmark has organized their resistance targets at 40%. That is still much higher than I would like. But we have a 100%. We have a 100% garrison rate. However, do I have an operative available? Yes, Josef Jacobs is currently available. He can actually assist with rooting out resistance in Denmark. And then Agent Polyakova can build intelligence networks. Where do we need more intelligence? We are building the networks in... We've got a network going in England. We've got potentially more in France. So let's send her over to France. She can assist with intelligence in France. And here we have managed to break through. So now, once the counterattack has been defeated, we'll launch a concentrated attack towards the forests of Picardy, trying to break through towards the airport. And the situation in the air is that there is minor enemy resistance in the north. We are doing significant damage from the air to the enemy. How's the situation in the north? So, and there's another naval battle in the English Channel. There is potentially a larger naval battle in the English Channel. So we will have to keep an eye on that. But let's have a quick look at the situation in Norway, where we are sending all divisions onto the line here. So your next objective is to march north towards Narvik and see if we can manage to get the Norwegians to capitulate. There shouldn't be anybody left here, honestly. There are a few Norwegian troops, but not an awful lot. So von Falkenhorst can actually enact this plan by himself, honestly, at some point. I am right now going to have to keep a little bit of an eye on the potential. No, I think no. Was it here? Yeah. Okay. Another battle in the English Channel. The remainder of the British forces. We've got Valiant, Royal Oak, Finisterre, and Ypres, and they have some land-based aircraft support. We do need the Schlachtgeschwader to interject, but I think right now the Schlachtgeschwader are actually repairing, and we are completely out of fuel. So Yes, the Schlachtgeschwader currently are repairing, so I think the British have taken that opportunity to engage our forces. We do need to trade for additional fuel and everything else. So, and see if that gets the situation under control. So unfortunately, we do not have control over the channel at this point because the Schlachtgeschwader both are repairing. How are the repair queues looking like? And that means we are going to have to take both off strike force until such time in which this is actually part of the first Schlachtgeschwader, but they have sailed out without the support of they have actually run into a trap. They have sailed out without the support of the heavy ships, thinking that the British were defeated. However, the British were very much not defeated, and as they have run into a large British task force, a relatively large British task force, from which we will see if they can make their way out of there. But we will definitely have to take the two Schlachtgeschwader off their operations for now. So that's something we'll need to keep an eye on, which means we are also going to take the Aufklärungsgeschwader off patrol for now. And the British at this point will probably have control over the channel simply until the Schlachtgeschwader is reconstituted. Okay, I think we'll conclude today's episode. We have an advanced destroyer hull researched. So I think next is going to be the advanced heavy hull, because if we want to have modern battleships, we need to start them soon, rather. So the Wilhelmshaven is going to go and research that. We have a new destroyer design, so we can retire the 1934 destroyer model, and we can build ourselves a Zerstörer 1941. These are going to be fleet escort destroyers. So they're going to be using Germania Werft, not the escort group. And do I actually have... Let's have a quick look at... Before we do this, let's have a quick look at the Germania Werft and see if I have set a policy. I have not, so I might as well do that now before we do this. What can we get? We can get research bonus, production cost. Production cost might be good. 5% production cost, because we are going to need a lot of them, and we're going to need them soon. Max range 25%, light battery hit chance, weather penalty, or production cost minus 10%, but range penalty. No, I think production cost minus 5% is what we're going to go with. Is there something further north here? Funds gain, no. Production resource need, no. Reliability, nice. We're going with production cost. It's the policy. We need them. We need welding specialists, and we need to make these ships quickly. So let's get a new hull going. It's going to be the Zerstörer 1941. Imperial Destroyer pattern, Blumenfoss. These are not Blumenfoss, Germania Werft. These are fleet escort destroyers, so they do need torpedo launchers. They definitely need sonar, so we're going to give them the S-Gerät, active sonar, modern fire control systems, definitely anti-air, light batteries, one torpedo, and I am thinking more guns. So let's definitely put a couple more guns in here. 2 torpedo launchers, 3 gun turrets, AA guns, sonar, and no anti-submarine warfare, however. They'll chase them away. They don't need to sink them. It's enough for them to just chase them away. We have earned a lot of Navy experience from these naval battles just now. So save that design, and we are going to complete the last ships of the 1934 class, and then we shall these are all because the dockyards are currently used for repairs right now. Then we get 2 lines going of the Zerstörer in 1941. So we'll see if the Admiral Werner can make her way out. We have lost one of the destroyers at this point, but hopefully the losses are going to stay. 2 destroyers have been sunk. Hopefully the losses are going to stay within reason. We have taken down 8 enemy destroyers, however. So all in all, I'd say we've done reasonably well. And we will see how that battle ends up next episode. We have made inroads into France. And we are going to launch the assault on Picardy. Trying to encircle French divisions and break through the enemy lines. We have breached their positions in two areas, and we now have a relatively large attack surface to push them out of the defended positions in Burgundy as well. Threaten Besançon, and I think France, despite their successes in Spain, is going to fall. Norway is just going to. We're catching up with the Swedes at this point, but Norway is going to fall as well. We'll just push on towards Narvik, and we can next. How have things developed here? We have actually encircled a few divisions here, so we have made our way to Battambang, which means we can wipe out the encircled Siamese divisions here. And then push north, link up with the forces in the north, and finish off the war in Siam as well. And then hopefully soon we'll be in May, at which point we are going to see aircraft carriers as part of the new kind of task force that Germany is going to be working with. And despite the fact that France has expended a lot of troops to invade Spain, that's going to cost them dearly on the Western Front.